Commander Zekthar of the Vorkai hunting clan adjusted the strange angular plates covering his torso. The metal felt wrong against his natural chitin, too smooth, too precise, too human. But it was the only thing standing between his people and extinction. The irony wasn't lost on him. 3 cycles ago, humans had been prey, delicious, screaming prey. The Vorkai had discovered Earth during their expansion across the Orion Arm, cataloging it as a Class 7 hunting preserve. The bipedal mammals showed promise, tool use, basic agriculture, even primitive weaponry, perfect for the coming of age, hunts that had defined Vorkai culture for millennia. Zekthar remembered his first human hunt on the 3rd continent. The creatures had been so wonderfully predictable, running in terror when his hunting party descended from their cloaked vessels. Their crude projectile weapons barely scratched Vorkai hide. Their screams when caught were music to his audio receptors. But the humans learned. It started with the metal workers. Instead of fleeing when the hunters appeared, some humans began studying the abandoned Vorkai equipment. Within a single seasonal cycle, they had reverse-engineered basic energy weapons. Crude, inefficient, but functional. The elder hunters dismissed it as amusing. Prey developing better survival instincts was part of the game. It made the hunt more interesting. Then came the Battle of the Burning Plains. Hunting Party Delta had descended to collect a dozen specimens from a coastal settlement. Standard, procedure, establish a perimeter, deploy terror weapons, harvest the scattered survivors. But when their dropships landed, the humans weren't running. They were waiting. The creatures had somehow predicted the landing coordinates and prepared accordingly. Concealed positions, coordinated fire patterns, and weapons, not the primitive chemical propellant guns, but modified Vorkai plasma rifles. The entire hunting party was eliminated within minutes. The High Council ordered an investigation. How had the humans acquired their technology? How had they learned their tactics? The answer came from captured human interrogations. They called it reverse engineering and tactical analysis. Every hunting raid had been secretly observed, recorded, studied. The humans had been learning from their predators, adapting, evolving, their response with each encounter. But the most disturbing revelation came from the human prisoners themselves. When asked why they fought back instead of submitting to the natural order, one scarred female had laughed. "Natural order," she had said. "You picked the wrong species to hunt. We spent 2 million years climbing to the top of our food chain. We didn't get there by running." The war that followed lasted 18 months. The Vorkai had superior numbers, advanced technology, and generations of combat experience. But humans had something else entirely. They had become students of war in a way that bewildered their hunters. Every Vorkai tactic was analyzed, countered, improved upon. Human weapons evolved daily. Their strategies became increasingly sophisticated. Most unsettling of all, the humans began hunting the hunters. Vorkai raiding parties would find themselves stalked across continents. Their own camouflage technology turned against them. Their communication frequencies jammed. Their supply lines severed with surgical precision. The prey had become the predator, and they were unnaturally good at it. The end came when human forces launched a coordinated assault on the Vorkai command ship in orbit. Impossibly, they had learned to fly captured Vorkai fighters and turned them against their former owners. The sight of human pilots using Vorkai technology with deadly efficiency broke the spirit of the hunting clans. Now, as Zekthar prepared for the defense of his homeworld, he wore armor forged by human engineers. The same species they had once hunted for sport now provided the only hope of survival against the Cathara invasion. The Cathara were everything the Vorkai had once been. Technologically superior, ruthless, viewing other species as resources to be harvested. They had arrived 3 months ago and begun systematic extermination of Vorkai colonies. It was the humans who had offered aid. "We know what it's like to be hunted," their ambassador had said. "And we know how to fight hunters." The human military advisors had studied Cathara tactics with the same terrifying efficiency they had once applied to learning Vorkai strategies. Within weeks, they had developed countermeasures, new weapons, innovative defensive strategies. But more than that, they had taught the Vorkai something their proud warrior culture had never considered: how to learn from their enemies. "Contact, bearing 27 Mark IV, reported Weapons Officer Drakthi, his voice distorted by the human-designed helmet he wore. "Cathara assault ships, incoming fast." Zekthar activated his communications array, another human innovation integrated into their command structure. "All units implement strategy Gamma 7. Remember your training." The Cathara ship swept in with the same arrogant confidence the Vorkai had once displayed over Earth's skies. They expected easy prey, a broken species cowering before superior technology. Instead, they found coordinated resistance. Vorkai fighters using human-developed hit-and-run tactics, defensive positions that appeared empty until activation. Most shocking of all, Cathara weapon systems that had been captured, analyzed, and turned against their creators. As the battle raged around him, Zekthar couldn't help but admire the elegant horror of what humans had taught his people. They had transformed the Vorkai from hunters into something far more dangerous: survivors who learned from their mistakes. The Cathara commander's final transmission before his flagship exploded was a mixture of rage and bewilderment. How do they know our tactics?" Zekthar smiled beneath his human-designed helmet as he replied on an open channel. "We learned from the best teachers in the galaxy. We learned from the humans." The species they had once considered mere prey had done more than defeat them. They had elevated them. The hunters had become students, and their teachers had been their former victims. In the aftermath of victory, as Zekthar surveyed his forces in their human-designed armor carrying human-inspired weapons, he realized the profound truth his species had discovered. The most dangerous predator in the galaxy wasn't the one with the sharpest claws or the strongest weapons. It was the one that never stopped learning.